You may be here for education, but I am here to rant about Leachianus geckos. If you know me at all, I for some reason don't have a strong liking for arboreal geckos. Something about them just really gets on my nerves. I like terrestrial geckos like leopard geckos and African fat-tailed geckos, and I like other lizards and even arboreal snakes and stuff. I think they're pretty cool. But arboreal geckos, they just get on my nerves. They're kind of annoying to handle. They're oftentimes finicky, and when they're not finicky and not jumping around, they're just kind of boring. Now you might say, well, Leachianus geckos or New Caledonian geckos, because I guess they're from New Caledonia. I don't know where that is. They are the largest gecko on Earth, and this is not an adult. They get a lot larger than this, probably the length of my forearm or so, and this is basically a baby Leachie, and it's already about the size of a crested gecko that's full size. So you might be like, but they're so big, how can you not like them? It's not that big. Sure, they're the biggest gecko, but they're not the biggest lizard or the biggest reptile or the biggest animal. They're just the biggest gecko. What's so cool about that? Also, we just get random animals sent to us by people that can't keep them, and some Leachianus have come through, and I haven't been a fan of any of them. This one's actually my girlfriend's, but she's not home, so I stole it to make fun of it. And speaking of selling and just dealing with them, they are expensive. Like, see, he's already jumping. Wow, it's so cool, he jumped onto me. No, it's kind of stressful because now I don't know where he is. You people find this fun? Not to mention they do drop their tails like many other geckos. So if I take a wrong move and pull his tail by accident, it's gonna pop off and it's not coming back because they don't grow their tails back like terrestrial geckos, like leopard geckos, who in fact grow them back, sometimes even cooler than they first started. Anyway, getting back on track. They're so expensive, and half the time you can't even see them because they blend in with their surroundings and they can change color to match those surroundings. So if I want to see this gecko in its enclosure, it takes like 5 minutes to actually find them. I don't know if this is a male or female, honestly. I have no idea. I guess it's a male, but I don't know. Anyway, when it comes to look, there's not a ton of variation. Most Leachies are gonna look pretty similar. They do, I guess, have different morphs, and people breed them to look even fancier, but that just drives the price up even more. I personally would prefer to put that money somewhere else, into a different animal or a different enclosure. Now, I do think their enclosures are pretty cool. I love tropical enclosures. I like arboreal enclosures that are basically taller, because arboreal means that they climb and spend their time in trees and high up. But the animal itself in it, well, you might as well not even put it in if you're A, barely gonna be able to see it. B, I don't like handling it because they're just, as you see, is jumping around everywhere. And I know they're not all like this individually, but in general, geckos just don't feel like an animal to handle. Like, it just feels weird. Their little claws are very sharp. They're not as sharp as cresty claws, which those are annoying. And if you have any sort of like body hair at all, like he gets stuck in my arm hair so easily, and it kind of pulls them, and it doesn't feel that comfortable. And now he's stuck to you. Now he's stuck to your ears. How does that make you feel? It wouldn't make me feel very good. But meanwhile, people are still like, I want a Leachianus. They're the biggest gecko ever. They're so cool. Now, yeah, looking at him individually, he has a pretty cool pattern. He looks like a mix of moss and leaves, I guess. And he does change a lot. You go look at him, I have no idea. Any time of the day, and she's gonna look, I just keep changing the sex back and forth. She's gonna look different every time, and now she's adamant to stay on this microphone, and it's like they never learn. If you want a cool big lizard, why not get something that can at least learn some commands, know who you are, remember you better than a little gecko that won't stop jumping on everything? What about a tegu or even a monitor? I'd prefer to get another savanna monitor than an arboreal gecko. If you're gonna make me get an arboreal gecko, it would not be a Leachie for the reasons stated previously. I would probably just get a crested gecko. They're smaller, they take up less space, they're cheaper, they're more widely available, and at least it stands out, and they have a lot more morphs for you to pick from. They have such a bizarre body shape. They almost look semi-aquatic in a way. Like, think an alligator, how like low down their profile is, because you kind of want, and as an alligator, you want to be able to really stay close to the water, not be too noticeable, blend in pretty well. And I guess this gecko does all the same. The difference is it does it vertically and sticks to the sides of trees or any surface it finds that happens to kind of look like it. I think Are they No, they're not insectivores, are they? When we had them in, I wasn't the one that cared for them. They're naturally omnivorous. I didn't actually know that. And spend their time on the islands of New Caledonia eating crickets, roaches, small mammals, or lizards. Fruit, various nectars. Yeah, so I guess they're so big that they can actually... That's kind of cool, honestly. I didn't know that. Okay, we have like one cool thing about them. Well, two, if you include the fact that they're the largest gecko, and that is that their diets are very, very varied, and they can eat some pretty big stuff. Apparently, he'll eat banana out of your hand, so I'll try that for some clips. I don't know if we have any bananas. But the thing about it being the largest gecko is that really something to boast over, like I said? Like, personally, I think the second largest gecko is cooler, and I think that's the Tokay gecko. Hopefully I got that right. Tokays are known to be very angry, extremely defensive, always upset, and although people have managed to tame down Tokay geckos, I think that their attitudes are pretty cool. And it shows a lot of variation between them compared to other animals. Because kind of like with my Savannah monitor Bonnabelle, people say I should get rid of her because I can't handle her, but I don't need to be able to handle every single one of my animals, which now I can actually handle her, but it gives you more unique variation. In Tokay geckos, not only are they a lot more feisty, and that keeps them kind of interesting, it keeps your adrenaline going a bit, but they also look cooler to me. They're more colorful, more bluish, grayish, got really cool big eyes, and just overall, their body shape is really cool. Leachies, they're so wrinkly, and even when they're not overweight, they just look lumpy and weird. And feeling wise, I don't care for how they feel. It feels like no comment on how it feels. Let's just research Leachies. Let's see what else we get. Leachianus Gecko. They're first discovered in 1829 in okay, first of all, where's New Caledonia? It's a special collectivity of France governed under Nomea Accord, located in the Southwest Pacific Ocean. I only passed French because I cheated. I would have gotten an F, so I have a little personal gripe against France and their language. Well, looking the gecko over, its eyeballs, they're kind of cool, but they personally don't stand out to me. I prefer pretty much any other gecko eye. They have those weird little ears. It just looks like holes drilled into the sides of their head. Unlike leopard geckos, you can actually see through a leopard gecko's head through their ears, but the Leachie, you cannot, probably because they're so thick-skulled. There's not much to it. People like gawk over these, but it just looks like moving moss. I don't know. So basically, usually I get an animal for one of two reasons, I guess. A, they're a cool animal to handle, or B, they're a cool display animal. And this one does not have very good aim. It just tried to jump on the desk, but it missed, and I had to catch it. Display-wise, you're not gonna be able to see it unless you really look for it. It's like, where's Waldo every time you want to see your own animal. And then handling-wise, yeah, like I said, there's gonna be some that are really easy to handle, and this one is not one of them. So, would my opinion change if I got to handle an adult Leachianus gecko? I don't know, but it sounds like its claws would just be sharper, and it would just be overall a larger nuisance to deal with. Maybe I'm wrong. I think the other one was bigger than this one that we sold already. I can't remember exactly, but they kind of look the same. I can't even tell them apart. Like, that's the Leachianus gecko. Should you get one? I don't know. If you want. I do think the diet's cool. I will admit that they can eat such large foods and such varied things. I think the enclosures are pretty cool because I'm a fan of that tropical style. But I can eat the cool foods myself. I can eat a large mammal if I want. I mean, a small mammal. I'm doing so bad. I can eat a small mammal myself if I want, and I can just set up a tropical enclosure without having to stick a many hundreds to $1,000+ animal in the center of it. And that's my rant on Leachianus geckos. Why do you like them? Why do you dislike them? Do you agree? Am I incorrect? Let me know in the comments of this video, and maybe I'll read them and get in a flaming argument with you over New Caledonian geckos. That's it. I still have yet to find an arboreal gecko I like. My current ranking is probably Tokay gecko. And then I think gargoyle geckos are kind of cool. So I'd say Tokay, gargoyle, cresty, and then Leachie. Leachie would be above cresty if they just weren't so expensive and you could actually see them in their enclosures, because cresties suck. Thank you for watching. Check out my merch in the link below. Goodbye. What was this video? I don't know. I'm in a ranty mood.